We're gonna try vlogging on this thing. So right now we're using the built-in mics. I'm actually pretty excited because they said, I've seen like 2-3 firmware updates that say the audio quality is getting better. Welcome back to another review, guys. So we are taking the One R 1-inch sensor edition. This is the Leica partnership today out for testing. We're also gonna throw it up against the 4K module so you can get a sense of how these two compare to one another. No spoiler alerts, this one's gonna be better. And then also I do have for potential future videos, the new Hero 9 and the old Osmo Action. Not sure if we're gonna do that, but we could do that in the future. If you guys are interested, let me know. The last test was in 5K on the 1-inch, but 4K on the other. Now we're in 4K on both. So when we throw this up against the 4K, there's no question this has better clarity coming out of it. When you look at some of the colors and things like that, it was interesting to me because I think they really did a lot in the recent firmware for the 4K module specifically, maybe not the Leica. These are all things you can tweak very easily, I found. What I found is actually the Leica is gonna come out much more natural and realistic looking, whereas this is maybe a little bit more pleasing looking, especially when you do a side-by-side, but this is gonna give you more clarity and the ability to kind of tweak that in post. You can throw on an adjustment layer, do what you want. This is gonna be more accurate though, which I think makes sense because this is a higher end camera, so therefore you're going a little bit more for accuracy than just a pleasing image right stock from the camera. Right off the bat, I wanna say this thing just, even since my last review, has gotten so much firmware love to it. The audio quality specifically is significantly better. Additionally, the AirPod quality, well, actually, let's check that out real quick. All right, and so another enhancement right now is we're actually recording from the AirPods. I'm really hoping, so my last video, if you guys check that out, the AirPod quality was kind of questionable. It was a little bit weird because in phone calls, you don't sound like that. Let's take a quick pause here because honestly, I feel like they did a big leap with the AirPods from what it was a month ago. The problem for me was that I talk loudly and the gain levels were not set correctly, or at least the auto gain they chose. Again, this is super easy through software. So the audio quality is there now, but the gain is not. And that's actually why this clip's not gonna sound that great. That being said, the onboard audio on here is really good now. Like so much better than when I previously tried things out. It wasn't bad, but I was gonna use an external mic, where at this point, I feel like the onboard mic is really good. But this firmware, again, has fixes for the AirPods. So how do things sound right now versus the internal mic that we were using earlier? If Insta can figure out a way to essentially improve audio quality enough on this, that was my really only big gripe, I think, in the overall review against something like the GoPro or the DJI Osmo Action. The thing is, they do give you the optionality of using, again, the AirPods or the external audio, so you can really get around that or negate it. But I do like using the built-in audio on these types of devices. They're action cameras. I really feel like this 1-inch sensor, when you consider the low light, the image quality, everything out of that, plus the 360 module, when that comes in, what, $100 more than the new GoPro? That's an awesome package. The handling noises, now I had it in a similar setup to this, basically a handheld tripod in this. I'm not sure why there's so much handling noise. I'm hoping they can figure out maybe something for that. That's really my only gripe at this point with the onboard audio on here, but the onboard audio is really caught up to what I think used to be the de facto, which was the GoPro series. They've done a lot on the audio quality on this. You know, one thing I'll be really curious of on this is the focus distance. So right now I'm basically holding it at an arm's length. If you look at something like the RX0 Mark II, which I did end up returning, it was an awesome camera and I love the 1-inch sensor so much, but it did have single autofocus. So you could either focus near or far essentially, whereas this does have fixed focus. That's gonna allow it to be a little bit easier. It's gonna bring the cost point down. There are benefits to having that. However, I do wonder with these vlogging scenarios, I think technically right now I'm probably not in focus, but can you guys even tell? Does it matter? How do things look? At the end of the day, this is also more rugged, it's waterproof, so I don't know. Another big thing to call out here is that these are gonna start spitting out now MP4 files instead of the proprietary INSV files that they were doing previously. The thing to note though, you can throw that right into editing software. It's not stabilized or anything, so you're probably gonna wanna throw it through their studio first, but it is nice that they really listened to customers' feedback and they started doing these MP4 files direct from camera.
Now, because nothing's perfect, and that's why there's product iterations, the things I want to talk about on the downside, mostly the big filter on this thing. So I am curious, I actually want to ask Insta why they have such a big filter on here. I'm sure there's some reason with the light. It's also very easily to twist off and swap, but however, like to put it in the case, you actually have to twist this off, put it back on. In addition, it just looks like it's larger than it needs to be. And the only other thing is, like, right now I have this screen facing towards me, and to swipe, it does block a little bit of the screen. I found that if you go in the corners, you can do everything you need to, but it's just a little bit more of a nuisance than obviously with like the 4K or the 360 module attached. What's the review? Okay. Yeah.
So in summary, I gotta say I'm really impressed what Insta's done just with firmware and software enhancements in general. You can tell they really wanna lead the industry. Then when you throw on top of that, the fact that this is a 1-inch sensor and then it becomes a 360 camera as easily as I want it to be, I can take it off, swap it, boom, I've got 2 cameras now, one for low light, one for image quality, and another for creative and action shots. Like, you got a really nice package in here. Prime Day's coming up. I encourage you, check out some links below. They're doing some specials right now for Prime Day, so you can get some really good deals if you are thinking about getting one of these. I actually stick with my original recommendation in the last video, and that was before I could try this. If I was buying this today, I would get the 360 module and I would get the 1-inch sensor. The 4K, while it's nice, it's small, it's convenient, honestly, I just think there's more use cases I can pull out of this because the 360 gives you those creative shots and the 1-inch is gonna give you the quality and low light. So all in all, that's a really compelling bundle to get. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Ask any questions you have. If you haven't subscribed, definitely do that. I will see you guys next time. And as always, it's been a pleasure.